Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Welcome to the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 43, coming to you from the desolate wasteland of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're recording on March 31st, and I am your host, Elric Wedge. With me today is
Bill Costello
and Ryan Taylor.
So there we go. We finally brought back Ryan. That should appease the hordes of adoring fans that were...
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
or just all those people that want to hear that cool European cred that we have.
Yeah. So today's show, we're going to talk about, I don't know, because Bill hasn't given me the show notes yet.
I didn't print them out. Sorry.
See how you are?
Yeah.
It's all
just
right.
have to bring them up on your phone. So.
Did you email him? Oh,
Duh.
you did send him in the chat.
You know, this is what I deal with, people. This is
it would
what
help
deal
if I
with.
read. Words are hard.
Here's what we're going to deal with today. We're going to talk about all the new stuff that's coming out. We are going to go through a little bit of creation. We're not going to have any battle because we don't have any battle.
No, I played a game.
Okay, we're not even going to talk about that. So then we're going to jump into lore. I saw you withdrew from the tournament anyway, so I don't care.
Yeah.
And in our lore section, we are going to have Elric regale us with tales of glee and glory at Adepticon.
Yep.
But then we're going to jump into something, and we're going to do a thing on what to do after you have your start collecting box. I noticed that, you know, like Dave Wojtek and Alex over at Garage Hammer are doing a series on the getting started boxes and how to work with those. We're going to take it a step further and say, what do you do after you have your getting started box? What's the next thing you look at? And in this show, we're going to talk about how do you go about buying the stuff? Do you buy based on a list? Do you buy just what you want? So we're going to get a little bit into that.
Go to a store, right?
Well, you could do that too. Sure.
Oh, okay.
Hey, what army you play? No, sorry.
Yeah.
But before we jump into any of our new segments or segments that we like, we want to make a quick announcement. We have started a Patreon page for the podcast. And if you want to support us monetarily, you know, with money, you can go to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/The Rolling Bad Podcast. And we have a few different levels of support. Right now, we don't have any rewards built into it because we're really not sure what we can do. But it's just a way to either throw us a couple of bucks a month or $1 a month or, well, I didn't put 50 cents in there, but, you know, it's just to help defray the mounting costs of running a podcast in the 2018s.
And also help me buy my Lamborghini that I've had my eye on for a while.
We agreed we weren't going to talk about that.
Well,
God.
You know, got to get paid, son.
Yeah. Got to make it rain.
Yeah.
So I will have the link to the Patreon in the show notes, and we will put it up in the Facebook group and all kinds of different places. And also keep your eye out because we are going to have a new Facebook group just for the podcast. Because right now, the Rolling Bad Facebook group is also for our local club.
Yeah.
And we're going to actually split off and make a radio station Facebook page so that we can just confine it to conversations about the show.
Yep.
Make it a little more professional.
And that way we can also give away everyone's personal information.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to share with, you know, anyone that wants to buy it.
Yeah.
So come at me, Cambridge. Yeah.
Play a game of AOS and rig an election. Woo!
Yes. This is my life. All right. Are we ready to go to New Dawn?
Yeah, let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
The Realm of the New Dawn, where we're going to talk about all the new releases and rumors from Games Workshop and beyond.
Yeah, we are. So let's knock the 40K stuff out of the way real quick because, you know, it's 40K and this is AOS. The Forgebane stuff is out, and if you have any interest whatsoever in Necrons or AdMech,
Yeah.
you need to run, not walk, to pick up that box. It's amazing. Wow, the value is just super crazy.
It might be their best value ever.
It's pretty close, I
Yeah.
gotta say. I mean, especially with the two brand new Armiger, Knight Armigers, and the new Cryptek. So you have no idea what those are going to be priced out at. I haven't seen them as separate releases yet, but I think when the Knight book drops, you'll see those
Yeah.
drop separate. But released today, on the day of recording, was the Necron Codex and the cards and all the other good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I picked up a copy of the collector's edition, then the normal edition that I can play with and get, all my stains on.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm a Necron guy.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited about that book.
It is a cracking good book. I mean, they made a few changes from the index to the actual units, but where the real changes take place are the dynasty rules and the stratagems. It makes them just wow. I mean, I don't think they're overpowered, but I do believe that with the changes to Plaguebringers and stuff, the new Horde army is going to be Necrons. The
Ooh, okay.
30 warriors with all the... You're going to be hard-pressed to kill a unit of 30 warriors down to 0 in order to make sure they don't come back, because they have so many ways to come back now. It's ridiculous.
Nice.
It's going to go back to the old days where people
Yeah,
hated
yeah.
Necrons because you just can't kill through them.
Without the stupid phase-out rule.
Yeah, they don't have the downside, but they have the
Yeah.
upside. And then at Adepticon, the next 3 Codexi were announced: the Imperial Knights, Harlequins, and Deathwatch.
The codices.
Oh, sure, fine. Damn Europeans.
So, I'm kind of excited about the Imperial Knights,
Me too.
but not so much about Deathwatch and Harlequins. It's kind of like, meh. I'm happy for those people. I know.
Sure.
Deathwatch was kind of like, it was cool that they got their own thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know there's some pretty diehard Harlequin fans.
Oh,
out there,
yeah.
so they're going to be
yeah.
pretty happy. And the fact that this will make them their own actual army for once,
Yes.
I think is very cool for them. I'm not super hyped about it, but I'm very happy for those
Yep.
people.
So they also announced the Kill Team rules are going to be coming out. So Kill Team is kind of, I assume it's going to be a lot like Skirmish for AOS.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to build small
Finally.
groups and, build them up to
Yeah.
an army size thing.
Very happy because that's what I was hoping Shadow War Armageddon would be. and
Right.
Very much not.
Not.
So, yeah, if I can get a skirmish easy to teach and everything version
Yeah.
of 40K,
Yep.
then awesome.
Also to go hand in hand with Tony P's awesome War Scroll builder, they also now are going to be having the combat roster, which is the Battle Roll website. So they're going outside the company to a private person who developed a really amazing app for a game system, and they're bringing them into the fold. And I think, to me, it's not so much that they're going to have a great way to build, power level armies for 40K. What it signals is the fact that they're more than willing now to go out to the community and say, you have a better tool / product than we do. Why don't you come inside and we'll make it a part of our, we'll put it under the umbrella. So
Yep.
that's awesome. And then, of course, this week, the Drakari Dark Elves or Dark Eldar. God, listen to me, will you? The Drakari are up for pre-order.
Yeah.
And then the big announcement at LVO or at Adepticon for 40K was Sisters of Battle.
Finally.
Are coming.
Finally. So
Adan Tahada, here it comes. Tell me, I want to hear in a year. I know you said it on the last Independent Characters or a couple of episodes ago that you're not going to buy the new plastics.
yeah, right.
And I want to go in a year from now and I want to see that.
Buy them all. Yeah, these two things I'm super hyped for because Dark Eldar and 40K have, as a standalone army, have not been great for a very long time. They're very similar to Orcs. I feel their pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm super hyped to see what this book does for them. They've been leaking not leaking. They've been hyping on the community website this whole week for things for them, which look fantastic.
Oh,
and then, Sisters of Battle. Yeah. I know what my army next year for 40K is going to be.
Well, I just go back to that
Orcs.
same thing of, yeah, you're going to be doing Orcs, pal. Let me just tell you, we have an agreement. So.
Oh, they're getting done.
I know.
They're getting done.
I know. We'll probably do that with Kill Team. So.
Ooh.
Yeah. I just think it's great that they're going to have a representation for the other 50% of the world, i.e. the women, who are now going to be able to play the game with models that look reasonably like them. We saw how huge the release was for females in AOS.
Yeah.
And how, I mean, I don't know how many times in the different WhatsApp chats and the different Facebook groups, guys are saying, I brought my 11-year-old daughter to the store today, and she looked at the witch elves and said, "Oh, Daddy, I can play now." And I mean, you're talking about a huge influx of new people in the game. And yeah, it's girls. They got cooties, but we can get past that.
They got the best kind of cooties.
Yeah, they got girl cooties.
They got alimony cooties.
Yeah. Ooh, bitterness. So now let's move on to some real new releases, which would be Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, they didn't drop that much at Adepticon. It was kind of a dud, wasn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Big
showed off-
steaming pile of dead. No, just kidding.
Yeah, they showed off this giant raw magic thing, which looked like a Pokemon on a base, which I just wasn't sure. I can't wait to see what they actually do with that. But at the same time, I was looking at it going, "Huh, that's a giant ball with spikes."
So the hubbub that I've heard in regards to it is this is going to be kind of like Storm of Magic for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
So for like big, crazy games of Age of Sigmar,
Yeah.
which I'm super hyped for. I really enjoyed Storm of Magic back in
Yeah.
8th. I played quite a few games of it. Yeah, it got pretty silly pretty fast, but
Sure, but
you know, whatever. You're just playing to have fun.
it's kind of, you know, when you look at that raw magic stuff, I thought it was really quite interesting that it's kind of signaling the heralding in the AOS 2.0 sort of.
What are you
thing.
talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
There's no
supposed to say that.
2.0.
Yeah, there's no 2.0.
Huh.
Okay, so anyway, I would say stay tuned for the General's Handbook and perhaps other releases this year. When they said this year was going to be big, I'm pretty sure they meant it, because there is some stuff in the offing that is going to be huge. I think they're going to fundamentally change the way we play this game.
Yeah, maybe.
Really, when it comes down to a couple of single die rolls, and you're talking about fundamentally changing, but really we are. When you're talking about who goes first and the inherent advantages that some armies have to go first, other armies have to go second, and you're now throwing that, you know, up into a tailspin.
Yeah.
We're talking about a lot of really interesting changes that I think are only going to be for the better, really.
And even just like slight modifications of the way magic works.
Sure.
Could totally change a lot of things around.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, yeah, pretty hyped for what the future holds. Plus, you know, Ideneth Deepkin.
What are those?
Yeah.
Oh, those are the Drowned Elves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, you had to look at that release and just go, wow.
Yeah, so when I saw it, I watched the video that they had put out,
Yeah.
and it didn't quite grab me. Like
Yes.
overall, it's very cool. I'm very excited about it. To me, I know Ryan and I had a disagreement about this, but to me, it feels like it's the second full AOS army that like finally embraces the Mortal Realms and the setting. So even the stuff that I wasn't totally blown away with, I still really like.
Yeah.
But there are some pieces in that line that are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Captain Seacloak and Squid Wizard
I'm telling
have
you,
to be
it's,
some of the coolest looking models I've ever seen.
I would only disagree with you in that this is the third new release, because Stormcast really are the first. Then you had Keratron Overlords.
Yeah.
But these guys really are truly AOS based, and they are, again, and we said this when KO came out, they are showing that there are no boundaries.
Right.
There's nowhere they won't go.
This
With-
is very high fantasy.
Yeah, and it's
so
you can leave your 8th edition behind, folks.
yeah, the old
'Cause-
world is toast. Well, actually, I
Except
don't. Yeah.
for-
Wah, wah.
Let's get to that later.
Okay.
Because there's controversy.
Yeah. So what do you think of the Deepkin, Ryan?
Well, I mean, Fishmen have been rumored for years, and now we finally have them. To be honest, I'm probably the same with you, Elric. I wasn't blown away, so to speak. I think I'd hyped it up too much in my head.
Yeah, that's fair.
So when that first video came out, bar Squid Fighter, who I just think is an amazing model, and the Eyeless Infantry,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
which just solves every problem I've ever had with painting faces.
Yeah.
I think for me, they've grown on me over the last couple of weeks. So
Oh, yeah, I'm sure I'll be the same way, especially when I see him in person. I'll be like, yeah, those hit. I didn't feel the need to, like, go out and collect the army immediately.
Right.
Kind of, that's what I'm saying. Like, I like them. Everything in the line hits for me, but it's just, it's not an army I'm going to do. Same thing with Daughters of Cain. The new stuff they added for the witches is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
It's phenomenal.
I'm not going to do that army, which is good for me because it means that my wallet gets to breathe a little bit for this.
You can take a month off.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, I see that a lot out there in the community, that the initial hype at first was all those people that were really waiting for it were crazy. A lot of other people were meh. But then now, as the week goes by, you're seeing more and more people going, those are really cool models. I mean, those are really, and I think as we see more and more, they're gonna be a hit.
Well, and we've seen more and more photos too.
Oh yeah.
That are giving like a better idea of scale and things like that. There's one circulating of he's like the avatar of Mathlan, or what is he called? The guy with the sea cloak.
Yeah.
Who's like
the Eidolon of Mathlan.
Yeah, it turns out he's massive. That model is huge. So
yeah.
And you don't really get the scale of that, I don't feel, in the video, because I think in the video it just shows him by himself, really.
Yeah,
whereas
you didn't quite get the full impact of how big that thing is.
Yeah, same thing with like the sea turtle.
Yeah.
The flying turtle thing, which looks really cool too. But now that we've started getting like pictures from White Dwarf that are circulating, we started getting a better idea of the scale. And yeah, man, some of those character models are going to be bananas.
Yep, truly bananas. So also in the AOS world, the Malign Portents campaign has, I don't want to say winding down because it wound down. The final results are in.
Nagash lost again because that's what he does best.
I simply can't understand that. I just don't get it, because I didn't see anybody with a sword that could crush his head.
Or a hammer.
Yeah, a small hammer. The chart is plotted going forward, and Games Workshop, I'm sure, is going to fold those things into their ongoing narrative going forward. But I'd have to say that the Season of War campaign from last year, I saw it start off really big, but then really by the third or fourth week, I didn't see a lot of hype for it.
I think it was pretty clear where it was going.
Yeah, I think it might have been. And I think the way they did it this year, where the results, the actual battle results, were kind of separate from the voting for where you want to see the story goes, really had a huge impact in how the results turned out. And I think this one went over a lot better. I mean, I know a lot of areas didn't really jump into it, but I saw a lot more buzz about Malign Portents every week of Malign Portents than I did last year. So,
well, they were supporting it with big chunks of story too. Whereas, last year, the worldwide campaign last year was really cool in that they were like, well, here's a new rule to try in your games for this week and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That was really cool. But this time it was like, here's like story driven reasons why things are moving forward and all of that.
All told, over the span of Malign Portents, they released, I think someone said it was 2 full-length novels. They basically released for free.
Wow.
And they're still going.
Yeah.
The next story's in 3 days? Because they're still using that site. They're still using the stories to go on.
Yeah.
And really, the last one was all about the Deepkin.
Yeah.
And some Swift Talk agents on their little ship. And then, so that's kind of cool that they're keeping it going. So you get a story every 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, it's something to look forward to and really keep the juices going. One quick shout out to Tyler Mengel. He did the great narrative wrap up there for the Warhammer community site. And I thought that was a really well-crafted piece of prose he put together there. So that was really cool. Good on you, Tyler. That was awesome. But that also leads us almost smack dab into one of the things with the end of Malign Portents is this Legends.
Oh, yeah. That got mixed responses.
I don't think it's gotten mixed responses. I
think it's been pretty negative.
Yeah.
Really?
Overall.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of, I don't want to be mean. There's those people that are still holding on to square bases and that kind of stuff that are like, oh, I get to play with my old freaking Karl Franz before he was a baby model.
Oh, my.
And then there's people
I
that
noticed
are
the
like,
character you go to right away there.
well, because I knew it was your guy.
Well,
I'm not going to pick somebody out of the, random.
Yeah.
I'd much rather aim a barb at you. So, but yeah, I mean, I personally, from a gamer standpoint, I think it's fantastic that they're now giving a ability and a narrative reason why you can play all of your old characters, even though they were killed off in the end times. You now have a method to say, nope, he's here, and this is how he's here, and it's real, and I can now play with my favorite model that I spent 300 hours painting, and then you killed him in the end times. I hate you. Well, now you can look at those people that left AOS because, hey, all my guys are dead. I don't want to play this stupid game. Well, no, they're not dead. You can bring them back now. They're okay.
Maybe. I mean, we haven't really gotten like solid evidence of who exactly is coming back. It's still pretty vague.
Well, I think they're going to let anything back. They're just going to release the War Scrolls updated on the website, and you're going to be able to use all. What I hope they don't do is I hope they don't codify it with honest to God GW storyline to say all these old characters are coming back. They're just leaving it up to you to craft that narrative. Or, dare I say, forge that narrative.
Oh.
That was for you, Paul Murphy.
So I'll go on the record right now saying that if they bring Karl Franz back as a Stormcast Eternal, I will do a Stormcast army.
He's already back as a Stormcast. Who do you think the Celestin Prime is?
There's more.
Yeah.
There's more. There was a little bit on that in the Malign Portents. A lot of people are thinking that Teclis gave Sigmar a soul, and he wasted that gift. And a lot of people are thinking that it's being used in making the Celestin Prime.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting in that. But
he gave him what soul?
He gave him a gift, and Sigmar squandered it. The barbarian squandered it.
Yeah, Sigmar's an idiot. I think we've all.
But Sigmar is Karl Franz.
No,
No.
What?
No.
No. Did you read the end times?
I did read the end times.
Yeah. Karl Franz died, and Sigmar went in his body. He went poop.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Anyway. So, but I think the thing is, Elric, is that Karl Franz isn't going to come back as a Stormcast. He's going to come back as a legacy model that you can't play in match play, but it's going to have a War Scroll.
I think you can play him today because he's called Celestin Prime.
I think you're wrong, Bill.
No, did you read that first story about the Celestin Prime coming to full wakefulness and realizing that he was something important, but he didn't know what he was, and all of his mannerisms, all of his speech pattern, all of his everything there shouted to me that this was Karl Franz, who didn't know who he was. He had no memory. He had serious amnesia.
Yeah, where was that? Do you remember? Because I'll go and read it.
It's in I think it's in the very first Quest for Galmaraz book. It's that story, or it might have actually been a novella or novel it was a novel or an audiobook where the Celestin Prime first came about, and he ended up meeting up with this old guy in rags and ended up following him to a Tzeentch thing, and then he had to free all the guys from the Silver Tower that were stuck in there. Huh. But I mean, all of his speech patterns, everything, it spoke to me, and I'm sure everybody's going to tell me I'm dead wrong because I don't know that much about the old world, but I had read some stuff about Karl Franz because I thought he was cool.
Right.
And everything about that book spoke to me and said, this is Karl Franz with amnesia. And he's just now a supremely bad butt Stormcast Eternal who does not know anything about what he used to be.
And I think that's potentially my issue with them bringing in, hey, we bring back all these characters into the narrative side of Age of Sigmar, is there was some pretty epic deaths, some fights in the end times, and now that doesn't matter because, you know what, it doesn't matter if anybody dies because you can just bring them back. So that really cheapens the story a little bit.
Well, there is that danger. I'm sorry, continue.
So I think it's great that they're going to get War Scrolls, but they're not going to get points with the War Scrolls. So it's really just going to be those truly narrative players who are playing open play, which is fine, but I think by adding them into the story of AOS, you kind of stop AOS being able to be its own thing by harkening back to the world it was every 20 minutes.
See, but I think that's what they did was they didn't bring them into the AOS storyline. They're simply saying, we're going to have War Scrolls available, we're going to have this stuff, and they're going to be updated so that they actually work, and you don't have to use your own homebrew rules for these guys anymore. But they're not saying that you're going to be able to use these guys in tournaments or match play. It's just, when you set up a narrative game, why not use your old Marathi? Why not use Malekith? Why not use some of these older big names that people used to really love? Why not have a method for them to take that thing out of the shoebox and put it back on the table?
So my problem with it is I would be on board with the cheapening thing, except they already did that with all the chaos and death characters.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's just like, oh, well then, I mean, if you're not going to keep, some of those characters died pretty epic deaths in the end times as well. And yet here they are.
And here they are now.
Like no consequences to any of that. So it's like, well,
Bloab is here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the Nurgle, half of the Nurgle stuff is holdovers from the old world.
all of it is.
What's new? The guy on the shell.
Horticulus Slimex.
Horticulus Slimex. Yeah, he's a new guy. Other than that, they're all from the old world.
Yeah, all the corn guys are old world.
Yeah, except for
so
Corgus.
yeah,
Cool.
but he's a generic character model.
He's just kind of a thing. So yeah, I mean, all the major players are still there for Chaos
and Death
and Sylvanet or Seraphon. You
Yeah,
can't
same
tell
thing.
one frog
Well,
from another.
But that frog lived.
That's true. They left.
but they have generic scrolls as well. There's no like Oxycontin and Tic Tac Toe and stuff like that anymore.
Well, you can still bring back Krokgar and all that stuff. So anyway,
I think it's a good move by Games Workshop to be able to bring back made to order models. Maybe get some people some Tomb Kings that they want.
Stop it.
Yeah, don't. No. All right, you just ruined it all.
See, now you just gave Tyler Mengel another reason to listen to the show and hate us.
If they release the War Sphinx kit, I might pick it up. Not to play with, but maybe in a narrative game or an open game, right? You know, it gives you that option to buy something.
I'll still drive the 4 hours to hit you. Yeah.
I'm willing to meet them in the middle ground. They can give us Bretonnians back, but Tomb Kings are gone.
Yeah. Why do I feel like I'm
half and half?
Yeah.
Right? You get the characters from the Tomb Kings and the troops from Bretonian.
Yeah, there you go.
So I think we've basically, to sum it up, we've pretty much hit the controversy over these Legends releases.
Yeah.
You can hear it right here. We're all kind of split on how good or bad it is, but
Carl Franz,
like it or not, it's coming. Yeah,
badass Stormcast character. I'll take two.
You'll do a. Also coming out for AOS announced was the AOS collectible card game.
Yes,
it's called Champions: Age of Sigmar Champions, and I'm
hyped. I love card games. The only thing, and I talked to some of the GW guys at Adepticon about it.
Ooh, aren't we special?
Oh, yeah. Jealous.
Jelly.
That's what you get for sitting on your ass at home. Anyways, the only thing was I could not get them to confirm whether or not it will actually be sold in GW stores because it's not a Games Workshop thing. It's a third-party company that's doing it. Yeah. So, and they're not always on board with pushing third-party stuff in a GW store. If they sell it at a GW store, I will play the hell out of it. But I don't think any of our local game stores will carry it because...
You don't think so?
No.
It's
I've tried to get them to carry... Final Fantasy VII has a card game out, and I tried to get the local store to carry that, and they wouldn't do it. Unless you're willing to come in and buy, like, a booster set, or like a box of boosters. Set, or, I'm sorry, a box of starters, which is, like $160 you got to come up with up front. Which I get... because there's so many card games that come out. Most of them flop because they're going up against Magic.
Right.
This one might be different. Maybe we could talk somebody into carrying it. We'll see. I definitely want to play it. I'm all in with this one.
I hope it's cool. I'm just, to me, we have Shadespire, which, looking at the Adepticon Shadespire tournament was, oh my God. That game has taken off like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And I just wonder if you need another offshoot.
It's not an offshoot. This is a totally different thing.
Sure, and that's the whole thing.
Collectible card
Is it's a third party thing. I'll give it a try, but I'm not sure. It's like Conquest for 40K. I love that game. It's absolutely amazing fun, but I'm not going to let it interfere with my other, trying to do AOS and 40K on the table.
Yeah.
So
I feel you there.
Well-
That's why I don't play Shadespire.
Right.
You
should, because it's a blast.
I'm sure it is. But I just don't. I mean,
I know it's just another time.
it's like an act of Congress just to get a game of Age of Sigmar in sometimes.
Right.
So.
Right. So also announced, going sort of with AOS, Shadespire, the Khorne Bloodbound, Megor's Fiends, and the new Stormcast Eternal. The Farstriders are coming out. So it's kind of strange that they would sort of re-release two existing factions, but these guys are going to play far, far different than the existing Stormcast and Khorne armies. So I'm kind of looking forward to this release a lot, since I really do love the game.
Yeah, and it also what it does is it allows new cards to be brought out for those two factions and make the other two warbands play completely different as well.
Right.
Which is cool. And we've kind of known that these would have been the next two factions.
Oh yeah.
Due at the front of the Shadespire box. So on the book it had all the factions. So
Yeah.
but that's now closed. That's everybody from that book is there. So
Right.
where do they go next is the big question.
That's going to be interesting. I'm really interested to see where the next couple of releases come from. Now that they've done, like you said, all the stuff from the pictures, what do they concentrate on next? Are they going to go with the best sellers? Are they going to try to pump up some lines that aren't going so well? I don't know what they're going to do, but like you said, every time they release a new set, there are cards in that set that make another faction that's not in that release. It makes them better, and it makes them, in some cases, crazy good.
It keeps everything fresh.
Yeah. And, one of the things, like they said, that there's no meta in Shadespire, because every time a new release comes out, everything goes up in the mix again. And every Grand Clash they've had has had two different finalists, two different final tables with completely different armies. So you just have to look at that and go, they really have hit the right mix of competitiveness. I'm jazzed.
All right. What else we got?
The last two things I wanted to talk about in New Dawn, and these just kind of go with some things that I've seen and gotten. Everybody knows about like the loot box and the loot crate and all that stuff. Subscription boxes where you send them money and every month you get a box with different kinds of things in it. Yeah. And there's one for every, if you like Firefly, there's a box for Firefly. There's D&D, there's you name it. Well, there's also one out there called Asset Drop, and it's a company out of the UK. One of their focuses is on painting. And so they have an Asset Drop box that comes out, and every month you get a box, and in it are different paints, and there's a little book that shows you how to use the paints that are in that box, and there's different techniques in every single one of them. And I just got my first one, and I got to tell you, it's crazy good, and I'm dying for the next one.
Yeah, I watched you put out a video.
I did a YouTube video on unboxing the thing, and it's just, you can't, if you're into doing different effects and doing different kinds of things on your models, you can't go wrong by having somebody send you everything you need to try a different technique. Mm-hmm. And hey, if you don't want to go forward with it, you haven't thrown away a whole bunch of stuff, but at least you've gotten exposed to it.
Especially if you're, it strikes me as something that's good for like a commission painter.
Oh, yeah.
So who's not going to be always painting the exact
right
same style. So I noticed when you had a lot of like camo weathering stuff.
Yeah.
That would work great for like World War II style thing. So if, that might not, for somebody like me who's playing high fantasy games,
right,
not so great. But for like a commission painter who's going to, I painted a 40K army and the next thing I know I'm painting a Flames of War army. All of a sudden, no, I got a new thing I could try that my client may like. So yeah, it looked really cool.
Yeah. I think it's, I just got the shipping notice for the next box and I am just counting the days until it gets here. Really. they're really, and it's a surprise. You don't know what's in it. So it has that sort of aspect too. You're like, well, this one might hit me right in the feels place and the next one might not. I might have everything in the next one, but
like
it's
loot
nice.
box. You get like one sweet loot box and the next like 2 suck.
Well, and
then
that's,
you get another sweet one. It's like,
yeah, I kind of had to cancel loot box because really they just weren't hitting anything I liked anymore.
Yeah.
So I was kind of bummed. So I think we can wrap up New Dawn. I think we've kind of beat that to death.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's any new video game announcements. So one thing that is coming out, I can't remember if I talked about it on the last episode, so I'll throw it out now. The Space Hulk Deathwing game is going to be coming out for consoles, PS4 and Xbox One on May 22nd?
Yep.
Yes.
It's the date I heard, yeah.
Yeah, so very hyped.
Excited.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. They're redoing some of the stuff for it. There's a whole bunch of customization, skins and skill trees, all kinds. It looks fantastic. So I'm super hyped.
Yeah, and don't let the Deathwing Space Hulk make you think all you can play is Dark Angels, because I mean you could customize everything in that game.
Well, so you can play. It's still Dark Angels, but all the skins are like all the different Dark Angels second found, or all their successor chapters.
Yeah.
So there's some really cool stuff in
there. Just gorgeous.
And the game looks beautiful.
Nice.
Like, so good. So yeah, I think that's the only video game thing I can think of at the moment.
Yep.
So when we say successor chapters, we're talking like Black Legion, Wolves, things like that.
Oh.
Yeah. Red Corsairs and
just the regular stuff.
Yeah.
There's the controversy we needed for this episode.
It's great. I'm just throwing it out there.
Good stuff.
I did start playing Vermintide 2.
Oh, yeah.
It just came out. Picked up on Steam. It was only $30, which surprised me. So, but it is actually a lot of fun. Just running around killing things.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
But I'm playing on like the easiest mode. I think it's called Recruit, and I'll be lucky if I survive 1 in 5 levels.
Yeah. That's how the first one was. For quite a while. I have to say, if anybody from Fat Shark is listening or knows anybody from Fat Shark, I seriously doubt it. Please get this game out for console as quickly as you can. Yes. Because with the first one, it was on PC for like a year and a half or something before it finally came to console. And by the time it finally made it to console, like the buzz was kind of dead. Yeah. So in a game where you really can only play it with other people because the AI is brain dead, and your allies' AI is brain dead, and then the Skaven that come after you are like master geniuses and hordes. It was really difficult to find games, like consistent games. Yeah. So if they can knock out the console versions of this while the buzz is hot, I really want to play it. Yep. I really want to get my hands on it.
They'll have a killer on their hands if they do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Great fun.
One last thing I wanted to hit on, and I'm just going to drop this here, and I'm not going to go too much into it, but just get ready for the idea of how you paint metallics on your armies to change drastically in the next few months.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So not badly.
No, it's going to change drastically. Badger is coming out with a set of paints called Metalsmith.
Okay.
From what I gather, what you get is some bases, which are just the medium that you use for paint. And then they have all the different metal colors that you add to that base to then paint it on or airbrush it or whatever application makes you happy. But you're not going to be limited to, hey, I have this color gold in this range or that color gold in that other guy's range or this kind of silver or this kind of bronze. You're going to be able to make your own colors of metal for whatever you want. So if you want blue steel, if you want heated steel, if you want rusted iron, you're going to be able to make that mixture the way you want it to look rather than how it comes in the bottle.
Really?
Yeah. And it's going to kind of change the way metals are done. I'm just going to drop that there because I don't know anything more about it than a couple of posts that I've seen and some people that have gotten preview copies, and they're flipping amazing with what they're able to do. Stay tuned, and I think this is really going to change the metal game completely.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
So after our 6-hour long
New Dawn?
New Dawn.
Yeah, we should probably go to Creation. The Realm of Creation, where we're going to talk about the stuff we've worked on. And from the blank look I'm getting, I'm the only one here. And you have an excuse. You went to Adepticon, so you had a big hiccup in your hobby. So I'm not gonna pick on you for it.
Yeah.
I have worked on, actually, what was strange was that whole weekend of AOS, I was so angry and jealous that I just sat in here and worked on stuff.
Nice.
So, yeah, I started putting together the Nagash for our Nagash challenge, and I got the robes and some of the other stuff painted up and base coated and blended. That's going on. I kind of almost finished the Great Unclean one. I just have to do a couple of still shade things on him. He'll be done. I did a lot of terrain kit bashing.
Yeah, this is
with
what I'm
the
excited about.
Azir
This stuff looks
sets.
Sweet.
Yeah. I didn't like the way they went together. In the way the kit comes, you can only put them together in a certain way, the way the corners fit. So I found I had to saw a lot of the corners off completely and join them my own way in order to make the ruins I wanted to make. So I made 3 bases full of just ruined buildings, basically, is what they are. And then I have a bunch of just extraneous pieces to use for scattered terrain. I'll put up a post on the blog for what they're coming along like. I'm excited by that set. That's a really cool set.
Yeah, definitely. This looks good.
Well, thank you.
I know it makes great radio, but
Yeah. Wow. And I built a bunch of Necron terrain also, for the upcoming Necron drop. I built a bunch of the Frontline Gaming Necron terrain, which I've got to say, if you're doing Necrons, I'm a firm proponent of the laser cut card Necron terrain. That stuff was great. I'm now a real firm proponent of the Frontline Gaming terrain stuff. It goes together so easy. It's so cool, and it comes out really nice. So
nice.
But that's kind of what I've done. I'm going into full bore, putting all my Necrons into a vat of acid because I want to repaint them all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good times.
That's where I'm at. I got to keep finishing. I got to work my team tournament, my Colorado Clan Carnage Army stuff. I've got to finish that Nurgle stuff, and that's what I've been doing.
No, how that goes. That's what I got to do as well.
How are you coming on your Nagash? Oh, wait.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Oh. Did you just channel your inner Randy right there?
No, I just say that because I just handed it back to him because I primed it for him while he was away at Adepticon. So I just literally just handed it back to him.
Yeah.
So
it's all good.
That was a dick move on my part.
I'll slather paint on it eventually.
What about you, Ryan? You got any creation?
Well, since the last time we've been on, no, I really don't.
You mean you haven't bought a whole bunch of stuff, assembled it, and then sold it multiple times?
He sold 7 armies since then.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's not quite that. I bought the Nurgle for the Mile High in Colorado, played it, half painted. Then we picked our teams for the Colorado Clan Carnage, and I got put on a team with Chad. And Chad wanted to play his Nurgle, so I can't play my Nurgle. So I sold him half my Nurgle so that he could play. And then I may or may not have put an order in for some Daughters of Cain. So there's a lot of snakes in one big box, really, coming. And it'll be in my house on Thursday. So that counts as hobby, right? Waiting for the package to arrive is what I'm doing right now. So
nice.
Purchasing counts as hobby. I'm sorry, it has to. Otherwise, I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
So that's what we've created.
Hopefully it'll be significantly meatier the next time.
Yes, let's hope. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on.
The Realm of Battle, where we're going to talk about the games that none of us have really played the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I did manage to get a game at Adepticon.
Yay! Because, it's only the biggest gaming tournament convention thing in the world, and he got one game.
One game. I played as the Ringer.
It was your job.
Yeah. So I got to play Alex Gonzalez's Moon Clan. Very, very neutered Ringer Moon Clan army.
One would hope that's how a Ringer army should be.
And yeah, it was fun. It was cool to get one game in, but not have to worry about gaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So part of me kind of wishes I had taken my stuff just to play a pickup game, but yeah, I got one game in. I feel kind of bad because I just realized that I don't remember the guy's name that I played. Yeah.
If only you had a battle journal to
If only
write that kind of stuff down.
I had a battle journal to take it with me.
Oh, wait, you do have one. That's
do
right.
have one, but I didn't take it with me because I didn't think I'd be playing. So, whoops.
Ryan, you've got some games in, haven't you?
I played one game actually on Tabletop Simulator. That's right, over the internet gaming with Gabe and he was playing a Dragon Force list, and I was playing some Daughters of Cain. And yeah, this Marathi is pretty awesome. She really is. When she transforms into her big form, she puts out some hurt, as long as she's not taking too many wounds. Brief outline of the game, I think we got to turn 3 before it was all over. He came in, killed everything bar Marathi and my 2 units of Harpies and a Death Hag, or a Hag Queen, sorry. And then we attacked back and took out his army.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Marathi killed a dragon a turn, pretty much.
Holy
and then the Canaries, or the Harpies, or whatever they're called, Canarai.
But
they just landed on the objectives. It was Star Strike. So they just landed on the objectives and racked up points as Marathi went around killing people. And he also left her on like 1 wound as well. So that only being able to take 3 wounds a turn really helped, because she got to stick around for 1 more turn and kill another dragon. So
yeah, I was really interested in that mechanic of only taking 3 wounds a turn. That's really...
It's a double-edged sword, right? Because when he did his first strike and he came in with his dragon, he did 3 wounds straight away to her when she was in little form, just with the dragon claws. So then he could concentrate all of the rest of his dragon attacks on the unit, because he knew that he couldn't do anything anymore to her. So it did mean at times there was units in his army that were only in base-to-base with Marathi, and so they couldn't attack anything else as well. So that was kind of cool.
So that makes her kind of a really effective line breaker.
Yeah, she gets to go in. She does a decent amount of damage as well. I didn't get any of the spells off or anything like that, or else I think she'd be even better. And I'd run a lot of snakes. I didn't run any of the witch elves, because I kind of like the idea of just snakes. The shooty snakes were terrible, in my opinion, and the bigger units of combat snakes, the Blood Sisters, being able to do a mortal wound on a 4-up for everybody in base contact for each model on your side that's in base to base or within an inch, was just amazing. It's really good. But having said that, it wasn't the best matchup, because they did all die super quick. But we'll see what goes to Colorado with me, to the Clan Carnage. Tabletop Simulator was kind of cool. You can kind of play just regular Warhammer on it. You can measure out distance when you're moving everything, and it actually has a physics engine in it. So when you roll dice, you're actually rolling them rather than it just being a number generator.
Oh, you mean like the GW dice rolling app?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's great. You can also flick them across the table when your opponents... Yeah, no, it was kind of fun. It was good to be able to play Gabe without us having to proxy models or anything like that.
Yeah.
We just brought up the pictures and played.
That is something I'd like to look into, because I haven't ever really done it, but it sounds like something that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, that's about it for games played then, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so let's kick into 20 boring minutes of Elric talking about Adepticon. Yay, we're going to go to lore. The Realm of Lore, where we're going to hear all about Adepticon. Yay. Whatever. And then we're going to start talking about how we're going to approach our expanded start collecting, where do you go from here segment. So I don't want to do this, but I have to. So, Elric.
Yes, Bill.
I heard you went to a small convention in Chicago. Yeah.
Where'd you hear that?
Oh, I
Would
don't
it
know.
be all over the internet?
No, it was literally our chat, our Facebook Messenger chat.
Yeah.
Repeatedly, you go, guess where I am?
You know where I am? You want to know what's here's how bad I was last weekend when you were there. I was looking at the number of respondents to the Warhammer survey that they put out.
Okay.
And I use that as my baseline of players, which we all know that only about 10% of the people actually respond to polls like that. But they had like over 150,000 responses. And I was then dividing that by the number of people that went to Adepticon. And I was going to say something like, yeah, well, there's only like 2% of the freaking gaming population that's there, so shut up. That's how jealous I was.
Yeah. That's not petty at all.
No, I don't think it was. So no, really, no. Tell us all about.
Okay, so I'm not going to give like a blow by blow.
I know, but
yeah, I mean, it was everything I hoped it would be, and so very much more. So you were right. I'll give you that. You told me. Because before I went, I was saying that, I'm going to go to Adepticon. This will be the one and only time I go to Adepticon.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to scratch that off my gaming bucket list. But due to the costs and stuff of getting out there, I was just like, this is too prohibitive. Like we were saying, I fly to England for the same cost as flying to Chicago, which is absurd. And you kept telling me, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Yeah, sure. Let me know how that works out for you when you get back. And I think my first night there, I was like, damn, Bill's right. He got me. Yeah, the gaming, all that stuff it's standard affair. Not to take anything away from the events that were run or anything like that. But, they were games of Age of Sigmar, they were games of 40K, they were games of whatever people are playing. The social aspect of Adepticon is what is just unbelievable. I mean, there were so many people there. There was like 5,000 people there this year, and they all came to see me. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it.
No, it's just being able to meet these people that you talk with online and whatnot is it was just crazy. Got to meet all the Facehammer guys. Mm-hmm. Super cool guys. Super cool. I got to meet, both Dan and Wayne from Helahammer. Dan very briefly, but I got to sit and talk all kinds of stuff with Wayne. I got to meet Chuck Moore, who is a big person in the community.
Yeah, who we've only ever talked to.
Yeah, Tyler Mengel, Relian, and his wife briefly, Brad and Andrea. Obviously David Witek, which was super sweet. God, I mean, there's tons of people, but the two that I really want to give the biggest shout out to has got to be Jimbo and Mitzi.
I heard they were pretty reserved through the whole thing.
Oh,
kind of just wallflowers, right?
Yeah. I mean, we had to like lure them out of their room to come down and play.
Yeah.
I mean, these two dudes are absolutely legendary. Awesome guys. It was fantastic to spend damn near the whole weekend with them. I mean, I got to hang out with a bunch of other guys too. Brian Carmichael, and the giant of a man that is Andy Avery, who I'm sure the British guys will know and some of the Americans. But one night, the last night we were there, when we were all redlining it because we didn't want the party to end, and we're sitting in the bar after they had turned the lights on and trying to chase us out, the man gave me a hug and with one arm reached out and encompassed my whole being. And I'm 6 foot.
You're not a small man.
And just north of 300 pounds, as I like to say. And, and with one arm, he wrapped around me and hugged me, but he hugged my skull. and for a brief second, my life flashed before my eyes. And I knew what it was like for a baby seal to be manhandled by a killer whale. This man, I thought this man could end my life with just, the snap of a wrist. Anyways, he was a super cool guy. All those guys. I mean, it was fantastic. Enough ball washing. What I really want to talk about, though, is like, the people, if you are somebody who listens to this show or listen to any podcast or have your toe in any form of Warhammer media or whatever you want to call this kind of stuff. And you hear people talking about things like Adepticon, and you're like, nah, it's not really for me because tournaments aren't my thing. Or whatever excuse you're giving yourself.
And same applies to LVO and Nova and, all these.
Stop. Stop. You have to go. I don't even go play games. Just go hang out. That's what I did. I mean, I helped run the AOS GT, and then during that, I had to run the Youngbloods, which was super cool. I'll talk about that.
Yeah, I want to hear about that
more specifically. But pull the trigger, go to these events, because the social aspect is just, it was unreal. I was like on cloud 9 for 4 days straight. Just hanging out with so many like-minded people, talking about the things we love, talking about other things too, and sharing ideas. It was just phenomenal.
Yeah, if I can just hijack your display here for a minute. I went in 2015, and this was, before the podcast, before AOS, before I knew anybody in any community. I went as just a lone wolf to play some 40K, and you cannot help but get drawn into a group of like-minded people and go out and have an amazingly good time at these conventions simply because you're in with all the other people that think like you do. You might not have any politics or religion or whatever else in common. What you do have in common is a love for this hobby.
Yeah.
And it makes it to where you can sit there and talk for 8-10 hours as you drink yourself into oblivion. And really, you have a great time no matter what. Absolutely. You can't not have a good time at any of these tournaments. They're just too much fun. I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, so I'll just touch on real quick the Youngbloods event.
Yeah, you ran that.
Right. So it was for people under the age of 16. There were 6 players that ended up showing up. So, I was able to run it in conjunction with also being able to make rules calls and stuff for the big GT. It was really cool. I mean, you're talking kids. There's like a 14 and a 15-year-old, and then there was like a 10 and 11-year-old. They're all playing with painted armies. Some of them didn't paint them themselves. Some of them did.
Yeah.
There was a 14-year-old there who painted a corn army that looked fantastic.
Didn't you commission him for your next?
I thought about it. When the dice started rolling with these guys, they were focused. They were eager to play. They were competitive without being jerks to each other, which is huge. They were trying to give each other good games while winning at the same time, which is like at the crux what we're trying to do here, right? So it was very refreshing to see that in what is effectively the next generation of tabletop gamers coming up. So it was awesome. I'm so glad that I got to do that. So
now I want to say one thing. You say there was only 6 players in there, but this was kind of put on at the very last minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, from what I understand, I think it was an idea that was like, oh, well, let's throw this in there. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing. I don't know the full details behind all that, but yeah, and hopefully next year it'll be even bigger because there was a ton of kids walking around with their parents and stuff like that who were showing interest. There was also a Youngbloods for 40K. I don't know how many people showed up to that, and shout out to the parents. There was a kid there who had he was like, I want to say 10 or 11. I could be wrong. And his dad likes to build the stuff. Doesn't care about the game or anything. His mom likes to paint the stuff. Doesn't really care about the game or anything. And he loves to play with the stuff.
Well,
his parents take him to events.
Yeah.
Just so he can have fun. And I was just like, can you guys be my parents?
Yeah, really. Are you interested in adopting?
Yeah, I'm still enough of a child that I could make it work.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was so cool that they were talking about he doesn't play video games. He's not really interested in any of that. He just loves to go to the GW store. I forget where they said they were from. Somewhere fairly close, I think. And he just likes to go there and play games and hang out with people. And I was like, man, I never would have gotten away with that as a kid.
You mean a socially normalized person who's under 30? I don't believe that.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, that's weird.
I know.
Wow.
So, but yeah.
I personally want to say that was absolutely amazing of you to step up and do because, it goes right back to the Kids Hammer events and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
It really is the next generation, yes, I mean, we do pick up a majority of our people who are in their 20s and watch, Lord of the Rings or something else, and then they find Warhammer and they get into it. But when you can hook them at that age, and damn well, the 11-year-old is going to play for a few years, then he's going to find girls, and he's going to forget about this hobby for, like everybody else, for 10 years. But then when he gets out of college and now he's got a little bit of money in his hand, he's going to think back to, I had a lot of fun with that back then. And he's going to be the hobby guy that comes back to the hobby and is, one of the drivers for the next generation. And that's huge.
Yeah. Maybe him and one of his friends will sit in their bedroom and record a show.
A podcast, yeah. Those poor bastards.
Yeah.
You did that to some poor kid.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was awesome. So I mean, sorry if I didn't mention your name. There was so many people there that came up and talked to me that I met and everything. Apologies to Johnny Hastings. I'm sure he doesn't listen to the show, but I kind of was a total moronic fangirl when I tried to introduce myself to him, and
oh my god,
I looked like an idiot. So
Taylor Swift, I love you.
Sorry. And thanks to Alex and Carrie Ann for engineering that monstrosity of an event. I mean, of all of it. I mean all the AOS, and in conjunction with just a fantastic convention.
Well, there's a reason they call Adepticon, the jewel of the crown in the States. LVO, Nova, very big, but they each have their own flavor. Adepticon is the convention.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I was telling people who were asking me about the LVO and stuff. And I said, well, the LVO feels more like a tournament, whereas Adepticon feels like a convention.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know how you change that because the LVO is in Vegas. And we've talked about this off the air, the differences in the social side of it. But, both are definitely worth going to. And I have to say I'm super happy that I went to Adepticon this year. And I will be doing whatever I can to go back next year.
I think Adepticon is more like Gen Con and what Gen Con used to be, which was a mecca for gamers. Now Gen Con is a mecca for, I don't want to say the hipsters, but it really is the hipster gaming convention.
Really?
Yeah.
Never been to Gen Con, so
can't say anything. It used to be just, gamers playing games and having fun and buying new games and people rolling out new stuff. Now it's a, San Diego Comic-Con kind of thing where it's grown too big to be of real value to the small guy that goes. And what we end up finding is that the big names go to Gen Con and they get the red carpet treatment and they get these cool flashy badges and they get to see everything and they tell you how incredible it is. But if you're Joe that bought a Gen Con badge, you're not going to see half of that, which is kind of a shame. That's why I like listening to, Dave Witek and Garage Hammer. They go there to have fun and to take part in the portions that they like. And they bring back these great reports of how cool it was for people like us.
Gen Con?
Gen Con, yeah.
Yeah.
I hear too many people that come back from Gen Con after going thinking it was one thing and then finding out it was not that thing. It was San Diego Comic-Con where you're at arm's length from everything.
Huh. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think Gen Con's gotten too big. That's why I think Adepticon is so cool because it's still focused on what we do, the miniatures, the fun, the great people. Yeah. And again, like you were saying before, nobody is standoffish. I mean, the Facehammer guys were out there just mingling with everybody.
Yeah.
Because what the hell? We're all just one big community.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So, Rolling Bad coming to England next year is a very real thing.
Uh-oh.
That's going to happen. So, but that's Adepticon in a nutshell. So, thanks everybody who came. Hopefully we'll see you next year.
Well, one thing I wanted to touch on real quick was you mentioned...
No, I wrapped it up, Bill. It's done.
All right, we're moving on. I wasn't even there, and I'm trying to throw out kudos. Jesus. Well, you mentioned Mitzi and Jimbo being really cool guys and all that stuff. Is there some way of finding out how cool they are or something for, people that aren't, dignitaries like you.
Yeah, I was going to do a big old thing about it towards the end of the show.
Yeah, well, I'm preempting that now.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. Then we'll just promote their stuff here. So if you're a fan of the YouTubes, which you should be, you need to go subscribe to the Jimbo and Mitzi show. The Mitzi and Jimbo show. We'll go with that.
God, you do such a great job of pimping shows here.
The Mitzi and Jimbo show.
Just search Mitzi on YouTube.
Yeah, there's not going to be too many.
They're doing, they're smaller shows right now. I'm on one of them, so if you want to see... No, you know what? You probably don't want to see.
Oh my God,
me.
that was a show.
Oh,
no, I'm kidding.
Get out of here.
Yeah, you were mumbling.
Jealous. Peanut butter and jealous.
Yes, so?
But yes, definitely check them out on YouTube.
I think also if you go and subscribe to them as well, because they're trying to do longer videos, but they can't do it until they get a certain number of subscribers.
Yeah, 100 subscribers, and then that's when the real juicy content.
It's called the Mitzi and Jimbo Show on YouTube.
We'll put a link in the show notes.
We certainly will. But yeah, definitely go out there and give them a sub so that they can start doing longer content, doing more things, because, you know, the way YouTube has cracked down on everybody because, you know, everybody's releasing videos of corpses now, so...
Yeah, basically, if you're not doing that, you're not on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So,
anyways, let's not.
Let's not be bitter. Oh, come on, let's.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
All right. What else?
Sure, that's all you got about Adepticon?
I mean, I could gush, and I could go into tales of late night drinking and shenanigans.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, all the stuff you guys missed out on. I'm sure let me tell you, Bill, you would have had so much fun.
I know. Well,
there was so many people asking where you were.
Oh, that's sad.
They said, "Where's Bill?" I said, Bill thought he was too good to be here. He is above you all. He sent me in his stead.
When I sent the sheet there of what my requirements were to come, they weren't able to meet. Yeah, they weren't able to meet the brown M&M thing, so I was like, I'm out. Yeah. You know, I'm out.
Oh, and by the way, everybody who thought that I would be taller. I'm 6 foot tall. Like, how tall do you expect me to be?
You know what it is you're literally in any picture with Bill, me, maybe even Randy, and we're all super short.
Yeah, that's true.
True, you are.
We never show off our legs. So that's what it is.
You do look out of scale next to the rest of us. So
yeah.
What are you trying to say, Bill?
You're big.
Yeah. I just want to say you're big boned.
I'm big until I get around all those British dudes.
Sure. Then you're a little guy.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell? I've never felt so small in my life. And then I came back here to New Mexico where the average height is like 5'8".
Yeah, and you felt good again.
Yeah. I was like, bow to me.
Just one last point about Adepticon, and that's if you're at all on the fence about going to an event, and it doesn't have to be Adepticon. It could be NashCon, it could be Slobberknocker, it could be Flying Monkey Con, whatever it is. If there's something going on in your area, give it a try. You'll be amazed at how welcoming people are. And from our perspective, there's this thought process that, because you guys are podcasters, you get to do things that other people can't. That's not true.
Not even a little bit. All
we do is just hang out with the people that we know, like everyone else does, and you make friends as you go. It's a crazy good time.
Yeah.
And this is how you get to know people that do stuff. So go to events. They're a lot of fun. You will enjoy yourself. Don't be nervous about it. I went to Adepticon as a lone wolf thinking that I was going to play some really good games of 40K and that was going to be the end of it. I was going to be in my hotel most of the time. Yeah, I shouldn't have bought a room because that was dumb. I didn't use it.
Yeah.
I paid a lot of money for a bed that I was in maybe a total of 12 hours over 4 days.
True story.
You know?
Yeah.
And literally that was just usually quick naps because I could no longer shuffle on my feet.
Yep.
I was having so much fun. And, I went without knowing anyone in any community. So you can do it. Even if you're as socially awkward and backward as me, you'll have fun. So we're going to move on now. We're going to introduce a new thing that we're going to do, not every show, but every couple of shows, because this is going to take a little bit of research, and we're going to want to present it professionally and give you really good, solid ideas. But we want to look at the idea of you bought a Getting Started box. You bought Getting Started Fire Slayers or Getting Started Caradron Overlords. And you've got them and you want to start playing the bigger games. How do you do that if you're not somebody that has spent all their life looking at these lists and crafting lists and you're intimately familiar with every unit in every edition? What we're going to kind of do in this episode is we're going to talk about how do you go about a broad overview of expanding your collection. And really, there's two major ways to do it. One of them is the way that if you have more money than sense, you just go and buy whatever has that label on the box and you collect it all and build it and paint it and see what shakes together. The other theory is, of course, you get into something like War Scroll Builder and you build a list and then you go out and buy those models, whether it's on eBay or, new in the box or whatever. So I wanted to throw that kind of question out to you guys. What do you guys think about how to move on from getting started, let's say, Caradron Overlords? Where do you go from there? Do you build a list? Do you guys think that's better, or do you just buy what appeals to you?
You want to go first, Ryan?
Sure. So I think for me, it's normally I build to a list, but I think it comes down to whether or not you think you're going to be sticking around with the army for a long time. Because if you are, then probably what's better is just to get the models you like. There's a reason why you're going to be sticking around with them. Buy all the models. Don't paint them and then sell them to someone else in 6 months. And buy your next Getting Started box. No.
I didn't want to say that, but
yeah.
There is a third way.
Yeah, there is a third way. But I think that it really comes down to what you're buying it for. If you're buying it for a tournament, a one-off, or, hey, I'm going to use this for the next 3 months and then I'm going to jump to the newest thing, you're probably best just going, okay, here's the list, build it. Let's go. If you're dedicated to the army or you want to just collect them all because you don't care how you get on in games, you just want to have fun, you just want to collect everything, then go with the models that you like first. I mean, that seems to be the best way in my eyes anyway.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think before you, obviously if you buy a start collecting box, you're probably buying it because it's for an army that you're interested in doing. I think at this point you got to ask yourself, what kind of game are you looking for? Are you getting into the game because you saw some people at the store that were playing like a one-day tournament or something, and so you want to be a part of that? Are you buying it because you just think the models look cool and you don't really know much about the game, aren't terribly concerned with it? Then you just keep buying whatever you think looks cool. Or are you buying it because you know someone who plays it, they play occasionally, and you just want to kind of get games in because you like it. I think, if you're going the more like casual style thing or whatever, then either way, you probably want to just get the book and look through it, see what roles everything fills, battle line, things like that, so that because even if you're playing casually, you're still going to want certain roles filled and things like, you want to know what the units do, things like that. And then you can kind of plan accordingly. And then you can go to things like Scroll Builder and actually put together a list, or, if you don't care about that, if you're doing open play, then even then you'll still want to know what your units do, things like that. So I would, get the book, get to start collecting, and then decide what style of game you want to go from there, and then go from that direction.
I think it kind of fits in, if you're going to do the shotgun buy and just buy whatever you like off the shelf or eBay or wherever it is you get them, you're looking more towards narrative open play, because you're just buying shotgun like that isn't always going to get you a correctly pointed list. Whereas if you buy it with the list methodology like Ryan was talking about, you are basically buying a tournament ready army. You kind of have to keep that in mind. If you're after matched play, competitive play, you're almost always going to want to make the list by the army that you need to make that list.
Yeah, but I think that's for more experienced people who already know how they're going to go about doing things. I think we're talking more along the lines of people who are just getting into the hobby, And they're picking up the start collecting because it's a great deal.
Yeah.
All of them are great
They
deals.
are all
You
awesome.
know, and you're buying it for the army that you think looks cool or you heard cool things about,
Yeah.
whatever, you know, and so for that next step, it's how do you want to go about doing that? Are you looking for...
Well, and that's the thing is if you're new and you're aiming at competitive play, you're definitely going to want to make a list and just buy that.
Yeah.
That was what I was getting at. Is
Sure.
You know, that was really for new players. So that's kind of... I'm sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think one of the, if you are looking at getting into match play and you're starting with that getting started box, the best thing to do is to, as Elric says, find out what your battle line is and ensure you get at least 3 of those units if you're playing at 2,000 points. If that's what your locals are doing to get into match play, get your battle line out of the way and then you can go into the fun stuff.
But don't get discouraged right away either that you have to buy a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
Because there's skirmish, there's path to glory. There's all kinds of ways to continue playing the game as you build up towards, you know, larger scale battles.
Yeah, and just about any area you're in. If you go into the store and say you're new to the hobby and all you have is the start collecting box, pretty sure you're going to be able to find somebody that will scale their stuff down to be able to play with that.
Absolutely.
And give you a good game. You know, a fun game, an intro game, and potentially get you hooked on where to go from here.
Yeah. If not, then they aren't probably looking for new players. And you should maybe find a different place to play.
Yeah, if you get, you know, clubbed like a baby seal in your first game, chances are play somebody else in that group or maybe find a different store. Anything else on that?
No, I think it's good.
In the next few iterations of the expanded getting started that we're going to do, we're going to start covering each individual getting started box and then kind of give you a different roadmap of to where to go, what to buy, and what you should be looking for with that box as you move forward, how to cover its weaknesses or expand on its strengths. So this is kind of, you know, I'm not saying we're going to do this every show because in the next few shows, we're going to have quite a lineup of, I don't want to say celebrities, but we're going to have different folks who are going to talk about different conventions. In an upcoming show, we're going to have David Griffin, who's going to talk to us about NashCon, which is the big convention that's out there in Nashville. Yep. So that's really cool. That's another up and coming huge tournament. We're going to have some guests who run companies that feed directly into our hobby and have some really amazing products coming up. So, as well as other, you know, folks that we're going to browbeat into talking on our show to give us some real cred because, you know, we need that.
Yep. So, is there anything else that we have? You want to do a giveaway?
Do we have to give more stuff away?
Yep, we got to.
We can't afford this. If only we had a Patreon where people could help support us. Oh, wait. Was that a segue or what?
Yeah, tell me. Tell me.
All right. Talk to me, bro. Who are we going to give a book to?
All right. Let's bring it up. Bring up the list here. Also, before we jump into this, I just want to say thank you to the winners so far for being patient with me. I didn't realize that when I started this, everybody who won was going to be living outside the country, which makes shipping a real pain in the ass.
It does.
So,
yes, it does.
We needed 1 through 79.
And the winner is...
Here we go.
Voting live, showing you the result.
Number 25.
So, number 25, drop us an email and we'll...
Yeah. That is...
This is going to make it easy.
And the name should be coming up on the screen right about now.
Yeah. Oh, if you're not watching the video version.
Yeah. The winner is at Tin Racer Steve, which would be Steve Foote. Another non-US. Oh, so
Steve Foote.
Steve, if you get in contact with me on Facebook or on Twitter or however, email, Bill's personal pager, doesn't matter. Let me know what book you want to, what book, AOS book you want.
That's right.
So,
and we will have it shipped from England to us and then from us to England to you because that's the way you should do things.
Yep. Oh, globalization.
I love it. Congrats, Steve. I don't got anything else, do you?
I think that's it, gentlemen.
Ryan, you got any parting thoughts?
Nothing from me, dude.
All right.
All right. We'll call it good. Thank y'all, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye!
Bye-bye.
If you would like to get a hold of us, you can reach us at our email address, which is rollingbadpodcast@gmail.com. We have a Twitter account for the podcast, and it is @rolling_bad. We also have a Facebook page, so just search Facebook for Rolling Bad. We have a Patreon page, and that is at www.patreon.com/rollingbadpodcast, all one word. You can reach us at our individual Twitter accounts. Elric is at Elric Edge, and I am at Bill Costello, Castello. All of our guest hosts and any other products or places that we mentioned during the show will have their addresses listed in the show notes.